Hello, Bill Molyneux here with Goober the Traveling Bear, and we visited the National Museum, the United States Army Museum at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and this museum was incredible. Well, here's the exterior of the museum, and Goober is wearing his U.S. Army War College shirt. So when you walk up to this museum, it's so impressive. All glass and mirrors, and it's really impressive when you walk in. Here you'll see the United States seal of the Army. And here we are looking at different military heroes, such as Sergeant John Denny and 9th U.S. Cavalry, the Buffalo Soldiers. You could spend quite a bit of time throughout the museum. It was amazing of the information, and I am an American soldier. That wall was really neat. Now they have the timeline here. I did my best to follow it. The founding of the nation. Learned a lot. The volunteers at work here are very, very helpful. They're telling people about different items in these cases, such as these swords were from Jamestown. They were actually found at Jamestown. And here we are going into the American Revolutionary area, and they have a wide selection of muskets. And what was very impressive is all their mannequins. You can see this one here. Their mannequins were very lifelike in all the different areas. I like this especially. This is the Fort Ticonderoga, General Knox with the cannons, taking them from Fort Ty to Boston. And they had this really neat diorama, and this diorama was very cool. It shows the sleds and the artillery being dragged from Fort Ty all the way down to Boston. Well, this American Revolutionary War section had some incredible videos. You could push buttons on these kiosks and watch different videos on different battles of the American Revolution. They were very, very good. You could spend an hour or more in this room alone. It was very impressive. Now, when you look up at the ceiling, they have all this wonderful Revolutionary War artwork running all along the entire room of the American Revolutionary War area. Now, of course, there is a pack mule out in the hallway. I had to get this pack mule. And here we are, preserving the nation. This is the American Civil War through the American Indians and the Plains War, the Indian Wars. I believe right now the Indian War section, when I videoed, it's on the exterior part of founding the nation. And they had a nice exhibit for the Native Americans, Sitting Bull, the Apaches, and here we have Buffalo Soldiers and the cavalry. And I really liked how the horse looked real. I don't know if that's a fake horse or a stuffed horse. And a very nice tribute to the Buffalo Soldiers, the 9th and 10th. And then here we have a 45-70 breech loader. Now the Civil War room was so impressive. I mean, this 12-pounder Napoleon with a gun crew, it was just stunning. And the crew looked like they were going to come to life. I actually, as you see, we're spindling it just because it was so impressive. You don't really see, you see artillery pieces at museums, but you don't see where they have a gun crew manning it. And you'll see his fingers over the touch hole or his thumb. And here is an American flag, a regimental national, and it belonged to the 84th Infantry U.S. Colored Troops. Very cool. And here we have General Sherman's hat and the Henry repeating rifle that's used very late in the war that the Confederates said you could load it on Monday and shoot all day through Sunday, or all week through Sunday, I think. And Major General William T. Sherman's hat. So we got the hat. And of course, this museum is just massive. And all I've done is do some little points. Now we're heading into the Spanish-American War. There's a potato digger gun. They are so cool if you watch Teddy Roosevelt in the Rough Rider movie. Tour guide told me that little point on the scabbard for the saber is used to put in the ground, to use that scabbard for a tent post, or a tent post. And here we are in the World War I area. We have our German helmets from World War I and a German machine gun. And this here is a Hotchkiss machine gun. I think they look really cool. They are a French heavy machine gun. And if you watch a French Foreign Legionnaire movie, you'll often see these machine guns being used by the Legionnaires. And here we have some of World War I uniforms and World War I helmets. And the timeline here of the World War I items were incredible. I think the World War I area was my favorite. And here we have German hand grenades, German rifles, and this down below is a machine gun called the Lewis gun with a big air-cooled tube around the barrel. We had some French stuff there, but I guess I didn't video it good. Our gas mask, World War I. Of course, we have the gas mask issue. Here we have some World War I weapons, the French machine gun with the open magazine that would get, mud would get in there and it would jam up. Got a close-up of that. Really weird design, a BAR. And this section here was incredible. I lost track of how to video it. We'll see how I did. They have a diorama, life-size diorama of this World War I vignette. And then in the background, they run light, sound, and background fighting. And then we have the F-17 World War I tank. These are really a two-man little mini tank. They were quite the tank, though, for World War I. Very impressive. And then I swing back, you'll see this is where they have the background. They have the movies playing and lights and sound, and it really looks like a trench raid of World War I. Of the different timeline rooms, I think the World War I room was my favorite. And as you see, we're walking out of there to another section of the World War I area, and it looks like we're in a bunker. And World War I saw the use of the carrier pigeon. And here's some different items used. Now, this is the Spanish-American War. I flip back over here in my video taking, and now we're going off to World War II. Now, the World War II room, and there's Kevin and Walt, my trusty friends and chuckleheads. You walk right in, and it's a big old Sherman tank. Yep, and you can't miss it. Very impressive, and it's a jumbo Sherman. As you'll see, it has the heavier gun, and I really did my best to give you a good close-up of this. Quite often you'll see the vehicles, VFW or whatever, but you don't always see them in a situation like this with mannequins. And then we have a Bofors type anti-aircraft gun, and this D-Day, life-size D-Day landing craft was incredible. What I thought was how they set it up with water. It looks like water is shining off of the landing craft. All the mannequins look like real people. You almost think they're going to turn and look at you. And the facial expressions on them was just so realistic. When you look to the ceiling, there is a flight of World War II B-17 bombers. And it was amazing to see them all. And I didn't count them, but there must have been at least 50 of them. I mean, they went through the whole part of the ceiling of the museum. Here we have some different weapons used in World War II. We have the BAR again, Tommy gun, and then the German MG-42, Hitler's chainsaw, or buzzsaw they called it. It had a very high rate of fire. The Tommy gun, of course, you recognize from gangster movies, and then a German rifle, a Krieg rifle. Now we come over here and we get the German assault rifle. And then we got the M1 carbine and some American equipment, a tanker helmet. And down here, I hit the Japanese section a little bit. We got a Japanese rifle and a Japanese machine gun. Japanese helmet with a bullet hole in it. Oh, this is a 30 caliber machine gun. Then we have our flamethrower, and then our bazooka. And this is sort of the Pacific World War II section. And you'll see the timeline of the different helmets. And as I was walking through, I hit the Sherman tank again. It's just so darn impressive. I just had to get another couple shots of it. And as you're walking down the main hallway, each of the timeline rooms spin off. So here's the Cold War, and the Cold War is interesting. You go to the left, and it was you start right off with a whole mess of maps, and then the Army in Germany. So here we have the different weapons, and also the radiation type suit in the Cold War. And then we go into the Korean War. The Korean War is on the left, the Vietnam War is on the right. So we're hitting this Korean War Jeep with a 50 caliber on it. And of course, the Korean War was cold in the winter months, incredibly cold. So we have a nice diorama here, and it was really cool. Everyone knows about MASH, 4077, and they had this really neat miniature version of a mobile surgical army hospital. I believe the vehicles were Roku vehicles, and it was neat because I didn't expand this video, but the tents were open. You could see the surgeons and everyone working on the wounded. Then they had a quad 50 machine gun. So there it is. I've never seen one close up. And on the back of it, it looks like there's a lawnmower engine. There's a picture. There you are. You see it looks like you start that up, and I'm sure hydraulics run it. I'll have to ask now at the Maryland Veterans Museum. And then we're over here in the Vietnam area. Now, everyone knows when you talk Vietnam, you're talking helicopters. So they have a helicopter hanging from the ceiling, and it's quite impressive. And then when we walk through there, they have the M60 gunner, and he's right there. And we're going to get another hit of this helicopter. They had it lit up. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up in the video here. It's not too bad. And they have their wing gunner. And we have our weapons, our M16, the different rocket launchers. I remember the M60. And Mr. Now at the Maryland Veterans Museum gave a talk on Vietnam weapons. You can see that on one of my other channels. And here we have the Wright brothers plane, civilian plane being used, getting ready to be used for our military. Checking out planes to see if it was something that could be used in the very early stages when aircraft. And that's the Liberty truck on the left. Now, as we continue our walk, you'll notice way up top are all kinds of campaign ribbons, and the museum store was selling bears. And that's right, they have bears for sale in the museum store. When you go out of the parking lot, they have these concrete, I guess, postings of all the military units and their emblems, and you'll see those now. Very impressive. I could have probably taken a half an hour to video them, and you're going to see in a moment they just go on and on and on, and it's just really neat. Kevin and Walt went around looking for particular divisions that they wanted to see, and we just didn't have the time. And you can see the line of them all the way down through there. And anyhow, it was just
today
amazing.
The Chuckleheads visited Fort Belvoir's National Army Museum here in Fort Belvoir, Virginia. So, Chuckleheads, Walt and Kevin, what do you think?
What do you think, Kevin?
Oh, I thought it was another fun day with Bill Molyneux. I tell you, I'd never been down here, and they've got a lot of very impressive exhibits in there.
What, they have 9 tables set up?
Yeah,
not even mentioning the games.
Yeah.
Just
The games were a blast. There were games
yeah.
going. One table didn't set up in the morning, but they had all the tables going in the afternoon. The museum is extremely well done. Just a big building.
Great event. Price was right.
Yeah, you can't complain about the price.
Price is free. People ask
That's
me.
right. Free to get into the museum, free to get into the event, the gaming event.
All right.
Just great.
Anything else, fellas? All right. Another successful Chucklehead adventure.
That's right. Be safe, be kind, and
Be
stay
sorry.
true to your school.
No, it's be safe, be kind, be courteous.
And remember the main.
And remember, oh my gosh, I hope you all enjoy this video.